Hello. So this week in grammar study, we're going to talk about abbreviations. So I always think of abbreviations as being for lazy people that don't like writing out an entire word. It's too difficult for them to write out the entire word. So they use an abbreviation. And abbreviations sometimes end in a period, sometimes they don't. We'll see there are going to be some that don't end in periods. Um, so the first group of abbreviations that we're going to look at are abbreviations for people and for places. And there are quite a few abbreviations for people and for places. So let's look at those together. I'm going to go ahead and screen share. I'm going to write my name at the top. All right. So an abbreviation is a short form of a word. Most abbreviations begin with a capital letter and they end with a period. Most is the key phrase there because some don't end in a period. Both letters of state name abbreviations are capital letters and there's no period used. Okay, so when you're writing a state, when you get in 5th grade, you'll memorize all your states of the United States, all 50 of them, and all your capitals, and you'll probably memorize the abbreviations for the states too. So for example, the abbreviation for California is capital C, capital A. That's our state abbreviation. There's no period, both letters are capitalized. So let's look at our example here. We have Mr. Well, Mr. is the abbreviation for master. So back in the 1600s, 1500s, and 1600s, you would be called master, like Master Jack or Master William for Willie, right? And slowly over time, that sort of got twisted and started sounding like Mr. And then slowly over time, people were too lazy to write M-I-S-T-E-R or master, M-A-S-T-E-R. So they started writing it capital M-R period. So this abbreviation started out as master. This abbreviation, Miss, has no period on the end of it. And that was mistress. So mistress was a word that was used in the, I would guess, 1500s, 1600s. And also Mrs., MRS, is an abbreviation for mistress. So when I taught 5th grade, we had this all-day event that was really fun, and it was called Colonial Day. And we all dressed up like people from the 13 colonies. We had a colonial schoolroom. So we learned about what it was like to go to school in colonial times. And we also did a little colonial craft, and we learned how to write with feather quills. And my name for the day was Mistress Hanson instead of Miss Hanson. And one of my co-teachers, her last name was Hennessy, so she was Mistress Hennessy. So both of these, one of them, this one without the period, I think of it, I remember it as without the period, without the husband, right? So you don't have a husband, it doesn't have a period. Mrs. does have a husband, is married, and has a period. There is also Ms., which again is the same. That's an abbreviation. And Ms. means you maybe have a husband, maybe you don't have a husband. You don't want anybody to know, right? So you just want to be, why should it matter if you're married or not? That's what Ms. stands for. And so these are really common abbreviations, and you have to remember that Miss just doesn't have a period on the end. A lot of times kids forget and they put a period on the end. And then we have a place, because we're doing people and places, 55 Porter Boulevard. Boulevard is BLVD, period. The abbreviation for Washington is WA, and it's capital W, capital A, right? So think about what parts of the address are shortened to form words. So a lot of times we have words that go here like lane or avenue. So I live on Clifford Avenue, and sometimes it gets abbreviated to AVE. And I grew up on Torwood Lane, and that got abbreviated to capital L and period, right? So street sometimes can be ST, period. So we do a lot of abbreviating with street, avenue, lane, court is CT if you live on a court, right? And again, it's just because somebody was too lazy to write COURT. They were in a big hurry to mail their letter. All right, so this is a little bit tricky because there's going to be a large assortment of things in here to abbreviate. So write each group of words. Use an abbreviation for the underlined word or words. All right, so our first group of words, it says to write each group. So I'm going to write Shoshone, trading. I'm just going to write the abbreviated word because look, it's not really fitting. Capital CO period. Junior is capital J R period. They haven't made the line long enough for us to do the whole thing, especially for number 6. So let's just do the underlined one. Road is going to be capital R D period. Doctor's an easy one. On number 4, capital D and R period. All right, I'm going to let you guys, we've done 1 through 4 together. I'm going to let you try doing 5 through 8. I'm going to put on a little bit of Jeopardy music. Ready, set, go. Okay, so let's look and see what you got and see if we get the same answers. So on number 5, I have 195 Water Street. Street we did up here, so it's going to be capital S T period. Mr. Robert Woods Sr. would be capital M R period. Senior would be S R period. 16 Muddy Creek Drive. Drive would be, we didn't put that up here with streets, but it would be D R period. All right, and Beaver Creek, Oregon. So I'm going to show you a little trick that you can use. If you don't know the abbreviations for zip codes, that's why we have the internet. So not for zip codes, for states. So there are websites that will just have the entire thing for you. And so we're going to look at www.50states.com, and we're going to go in here. I'm going to screen share that for you. All right, so I have, this is www.50states.com. It will be your best friend in 5th grade. So we're looking for Oregon. These are in alphabetical order. So I'm zipping down here. And here's Oregon. It's capital O, capital R. And you notice how none of these have periods at the end, right? So it's O-R, capitalized both. Okay, so let's screen share our paper and we'll write that one in. Aha, we're back. So Beaver Creek, Oregon is going to be capital O, capital R. So if you're a little bit confused about what the abbreviation for the state is, then you can look on www.50states.com, or you can just write Oregon. Sometimes if you don't know the abbreviation, you can just write the whole word out. So you could write capital OREGON, and that would work fine as well. Sometimes if it's a longer state, California is a pretty long state to write out. So capital C, capital A is definitely a lot easier than writing the whole state out. But a lot of states have medium to short, like Utah only has 4 letters. The abbreviation is half that, UT. So it just depends on your degree of laziness and your ability to spell your states. So I hope this helped you, and I hope that you enjoyed learning about abbreviations for people and for places. And I will see you tomorrow when we do our next grammar lesson. Thanks for joining me.